From Relay, this is Connected, episode 559. Today's show is brought to you by Squarespace and Fitbod. I'm your Ricky Benchman, Federico Vitici, and it's my pleasure to introduce Steven. Hello, Steven.
Hello, Ricky Benchman Federico.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Man, I'm good. It's summer. My kids are home. We're doing swim parties. We're going to shoot some fireworks this weekend, safely and responsibly.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch other people shoot fireworks safely and responsibly. I meant to say, don't write in. Hello. I am introduced by Federico, and I'm introducing Mike. I'm in the sandwich this week. I'm in the middle.
Are you not allowed to fireworks? You're not allowed to do
people get...
Don't do fireworks. They're bad for animals. They're bad for the environment. And they're especially bad for dogs.
See?
Okay, so we found the person. He's on our podcast.
I am one of those people. Yes.
The complaints are in the podcast. Okay, so that's good to know.
Jesus,
I
people
would say
still
I
doing
am not
fireworks.
a fireworks fan, personally. I am of the opinion that fireworks should just be done by professionals, but I just wasn't sure if there were rules because of the way that you said that. But if it's legal to do, fine, but I just think they're never as good as the ones that professionals do, so I just figure I will find a link, put it in the show notes of that time when all the fireworks went off at once.
Thank you.
It's my favorite YouTube video of all time. Federico, if you've never seen this, you gotta watch it at some point. San Diego fireworks is San Diego's thing. It's just the best. It's so good. 11 million views on YouTube. It's the loudest noise in human history. I think it knocked the earth off its axis a little bit.
I have seen this video many years ago. Yes.
I'll tell you when I watch this every New Year's. So I'll watch the fireworks display on TV that they do in central London. And then I will, once that's done, immediately go to YouTube and find this video and then laugh for 15 minutes and make everybody watch it. Oh, it's so good.
This is insane.
This is the best fireworks show ever.
I'm done. I'm going now.
That was perfect.
The sound is just incredible.
There's never been a sound like it.
Maybe.
My favorite thing is just watching the reactions. The second favorite thing after the noise is just watching the way that people react to it happening while it's happening to them. There's people running, people moving in circles. Oh, it's incredible. Oh, it's so good.
I mean, it's overwhelming in video. In person, it probably felt like the end of the world.
The people running. I just saw something new for the first time where there's a woman who's pulling her husband away. He doesn't want to leave, but she's just pulling him.
I gotta watch this video again.
Oh
my god, it's so
good.
loud.
Yeah, just watch one section of the video each time on replay.
Yeah. Oh,
I see the woman pulling the guy
Yeah,
away.
she's just pulling that guy. He's like, no, I'm too cool for this. And then there's these two younger women who just start running in circles. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's the best video. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
Is it not?
I mean, it could be. I could just bring my favorite YouTube videos to the show.
That's
we just
right.
talk about them in audio form.
It's perfect. Follow up, Mike.
Yeah.
Chris and Steven both wrote in, not me.
Okay.
Another Steven, although they spelled their name correctly. Mike, when you ask for feedback in a blog post, how do you prefer that feedback to come in?
Reader's choice.
Really? So
Yeah.
social media,
You find
facts.
me. Yeah, you find me. I know that sounds stupid. Maybe people can reply to the emails. I don't know. Or they find me. I just, people can get to me. I'm not hidden. Come find me.
No, yeah, I think this was a question out of respect.
Yeah.
What works best
here's
for
the thing.
you?
I'm fine with it. People can get me how they need to get me, That's kind of how I feel. I don't yet have and I don't want another place to check, right? So I'm not going to be
Sure.
And here's the feedback form for the website. It's like, no, just like I'm online. I'm on 3 text-based social networks. You know what I mean? Just send me that, or
Too
like
many.
you can find my email address and send me that. Like that's kind of how I feel.
Do you have like a Mastodon Blue Sky Threads account just for the website?
No,
Good.
no,
Yeah.
I'm just posting every post myself.
Yeah. Because that
It's
simplifies
my
things,
website.
right? Simplifies things.
Yeah. But it's like that. I understand why people do it because it's like the way people did it. But it's just like, especially this particular thing, it's just me, right? So it's like I don't. I feel like I'm just going to publish the links to my
Man,
to my
you
posts.
haven't blogged this month. You're falling off.
Yes, I have. Oh, this month. Oh, it's the 2nd of July. Come on.
Wow.
Come on.
Our boy
Is
fell
that how
off.
it works? Is that how it works? You're going to keep up the habit or something?
You
Is there
do.
like a,
Yeah.
if I got to do like NaNoWriMo for blogging, but it's every day. Like,
Mhm.
it's like Mike's freak. I don't know. I haven't got a thing for it, but there you go.
What was
Okay.
that? Did you get it? You good?
Never mind.
Okay.
Nope. Dimmy wrote in and said, I work in a big company in tech. We have a policy to change our passwords every 12 months. We use this password for everything: laptops, email, Slack, Jira. Mine just expired, so I can finally share it. A year ago, I set it to, it's not what you think. And every time I had to type it, it gave me a chuckle. I think this is a great idea for a password, but I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So you would presume that the policy is for security reasons, right?
That's what they
You
say.
change it every 12 months.
Mhm.
But then this password is used for 4 or more things.
Yeah. And for a year.
No, but like even a year, it's like fine. You change it every year. Like I understand that. Like that's good. But like I don't think it's that secure if you're then using the same password for 4 separate
Doesn't
things.
seem like it. Doesn't seem like
Laptop, email, Slack, and Jira. That actually seems worse.
it. Mm-hmm. When I worked at the Apple Store 1,000 years ago, we had to do this. We had to rotate our passwords. And I think it was every 60 days. It was just off enough to be really annoying. And what I ended up doing for a while on a recommendation from a friend was the first letters of like a movie series. So I did like Star Wars movies. And at the time, there were just 6 of them. And so it was like SW:ANH, like Star Wars A New Hope or whatever. And or the whole title. I forget what I did. But like you pick like a theme for your passwords. An annual theme for passwords, Mike. That's a Cortex idea for you.
There you go. Just very specific. Get 1Password to sponsor it.
Yeah, it's going to do really well.
I used to, so I had to do this too when I worked in the bank, and I would have the same password and increment the number. But the problem is sometimes, you go away for 2 weeks or whatever, you just don't remember the number. It's just like, well, I don't know what the number was.
I think more modern systems don't let you do that.
I'm sure they don't. And I am, in having this conversation, I am realizing why 1Password pivoted to the enterprise.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And like in having this conversation, it's like, oh yeah, like it's better this way, right? Like you force your employees to use 1Password and then they will set better passwords.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just have to remember 1Password, which is the name of the app.
That's what they say.
Wow.
Wow, that's deep, man. Okay.
Time for some follow-out. Widgetsmith 7.3 is out. It's a really good update. And I wanted to give Stephen a chance to talk about it, but I just wanted to do the intro for him so he doesn't have to do it for himself. The big thing in 7.3, I assume this was a long requested feature. I know it's one that I've enjoyed, is that you can now, there are now like a wallpaper gallery, and there are a bunch of wallpapers, so you can get some fun wallpapers if you want them, which is always good because I always struggle with how to find new wallpapers if I want a new one. Not that I ever want one, but if I was that kind of person.
You've used the same one for like 5 years.
Yeah, I would like one on my iPad, so if you could like get that rolling, that'd be
Interesting.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, and but now you can choose these wallpapers and easily have thematically appropriate from a color perspective, like themes for your widgets. So
That's right.
here's the wallpaper, here's a bunch of options that are colors. But my favorite feature is you can say, here is my wallpaper, theme the widgets. And I've been doing that to my widgets and they look great. So thank you both for doing that.
Yeah, it's great. We've worked with a couple of designers for this initial set, including Basic Apple Guy, which was really awesome. Like,
Nice.
I just sent them an email. I was like, hey, I have this idea. Like, are you game? And they were totally game. I got some of my own photos in there. I'm really pushing
That's my
underscore.
favorite thing is how many credits are Stephen Hackett. I like that.
Well,
That
we
makes me
wanted to
laugh.
test like would photographs do well compared to like graphically designed.
Right. You're a good photographer. You have good photos, so they might as well go in there. Give them to the world, you know.
And we're gonna have drops moving forward of new wallpapers, which will be fun. And yeah, the ability to theme a widget based on your own photo is really cool. And underscores magic of like these are the colors that look good with this wallpaper. It doesn't miss. Like while he was building this, I kept throwing more and more unhinged images at it, and it just does a great job all the time. So it is.
I'm sure
it
as
is really
he's done
cool.
to you. He explained this to me over lunch the other day, how the colors work. I could not explain it back to you.
Oh, I know. I heard this. I heard a similar thing. I was like, oh, cool.
Wow. Yeah, color theory.
Have you ever seen him like in development mode?
No, I wish I have,
No.
but I've never. I know you've seen him a few times.
I've seen him a few times in this, and so he's at his laptop. You know, he carries this like foldable stand and a keyboard and mouse with him. It's awesome.
Yep. He recommended that stand to me once. If it might be the Roost.
I think it is, or
that's
similar to
the
that.
product
I
ended
think
up going with. They're really good, and that's how people should use their laptops if they're like going to be working for a long time.
Yeah, but he is just like his hands are like a blur, and then he'll be like, "Hey, look at this," and he'll like swing his laptop around. It's like this whole new idea has just happened. It is really incredible, and you can see a lot of that work. Yeah, Widget Smith 7.3, it's out now. Go check it out. Can I tell you a secret about a future drop?
Yes.
I have some iMac G3 photos coming.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know
Hope they're
when.
good
In the next
ones.
couple of weeks, at some point, they'll be in there.
Can't you control that?
Technically, he controls that because it's like caching server
Technically,
somewhere.
you're like you too. You're
Mm.
Songs of Innocencing us, right?
Wow.
Where like there's just like millions of people around the world who are going to be like forced to see the iMac G3 photos.
I'm not putting that as people's wallpaper. That would be the true Songs of Innocence. Like you unlock your iPhone in the morning and it's a picture of a tangerine iMac.
It wasn't the only music I could listen to. I could choose other music. But like it was just there. And so like I guess it's the same where you're just like, hi, here's an iMac. Would you like it? Please look at my iMac.
I did have him order them in the color order is in release order of the iMacs. Obviously.
Stephen.
He had tangerine first. I was like, no, tangerine can't go first, even though it's the best one.
Oh dear.
I am you too. That's a really upsetting
You are.
realization.
You're you too. You can I get like if only you two, I know David was just with you. I wish that he was still there so you could do like the finger thing. You know, you could touch your fingers together and
maybe we did.
And then IMAX to millions of people around the world. Speaking of music, it's 10 years of Apple Music. Apple celebrated 10 years of Apple Music in a, I think, truly chaotic way.
With a press
they built
release.
an entire building. No, they built a building for musicians. And I don't it feels to me, this is like the developer center, but for music, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did here. It's in LA. And similarly to the developer center, it's like, here are all these facilities. How do you use them? Don't ask.
Here's the thing that kills me. So our friend Ryan wrote this at 9 to 5 Mac describing what's in this building. And he's quoting from Apple. The last bullet point, the A-list corridor and the archive corridor, showcasing images and artwork of unforgettable moments from Apple Music's past and present. So at some point, you're deemed cool enough to be in the A-list corridor. And then when people don't care about you anymore, you get moved into the archive hallway.
Oh, no. Oh, that's really sad.
That's rough.
Oh.
What do you think Bono is in here?
Well, you know what they do, though, right? Like, they know someone's coming in. It's like, oh, you're in the A-list corridor now.
Oh, like it's a living document.
It's a living. And they just move you from one to the other, you know? Just like, oh, like, Steven's coming through. let's put the IMAX in the A-list corridor. Like so you can look at them there. And then, this facility looks truly unbelievable. Like there's this room which looks like a spaceship, and it's immersive spatial audio where you can listen to it. And they got podcast studios and stuff in there too. Sounds incredible, but like I don't know how you get to go there.
Well,
I will go there.
I'll go
there if people will let me.
Yeah,
I'll go there.
You know what? You don't even have to put me in the corridor.
That's true. We just want to use the studio. Let us record in that podcast studio.
You say that. Historically, Apple has done a pretty bad job at setting up podcast spaces for us. 1 year we just recorded in a hallway.
That was the first one, though, right?
It's gotten better.
Yeah, they do a good job. The last one was pretty good. Federico was pretty good, right? It was good with Jason.
I think the most recent one was the best one I've seen from them today.
Yeah. Good.
They get better. They get better. They also have a replay of 10 years of Apple Music history for users. So you can go in and there's a special playlist and it shows you over the last 10 years what has been your most listened to music, which is cool.
Yeah. About that, I got some problems with it in the sense that so I've been using Spotify for a year. Over the past decade, I would say I've used Apple Music for like 8 years, and combined all the times that I've switched back and forth, I would say it's an 8-2 split. 8 years of Apple Music, 2 years of Spotify over the past decade. So I do have like most of my history is in Apple Music. Now, my problem with this playlist is that they don't do any sort of like sorting, or like it's just a straight up list of songs by play count. There's no AI in it. There's no algorithmic suggestion. Like, for example, the album, and Steven knows about this, I have been listening to Plants by Death Cab for Cutie for the past 20 years, I guess. And it is my go-to album for relaxing at night and falling asleep, especially when I'm having a hard time falling asleep. I just love to put on Plants and fall asleep to that record. Not because it's a boring record, just because it puts me in a really, really good mood.
Amen.
But just when I open my replay all-time playlist, the top, how many, 12, 11 spots are
Plants.
All the songs from Plants.
Okay. Really,
So,
it would be
like-
nice to have just like a representative.
Exactly.
yeah.
Just do something. So, no, this is just a straight up play count in a
Yeah.
playlist.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you have a Mac and you can put together a smart playlist with the same filters, like give me the top songs from the past 10 years, you're going to have your replay all time. So,
It's just a pure smart playlist. And nothing else is going on here.
Yeah.
My playlist is kind of ruined by the fact that when I stream, I have a playlist in Apple Music that plays, so it's just all that. But if I go down far enough, then it's a lot of Taicho, Vampire Weekend, Jungle, Fleetwood Mac, Maggie Rogers, Foo Fighters, 1975, and Churches.
Foo Fighters.
And Two Door Cinema Club. Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
Foo
nice.
Fighters.
Did you?
They just announced a new song today, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet, but
me neither.
I did see that.
I just found a very funny thing and music on the Mac. I was trying to build that playlist, and there's there's a limit option, minutes, hours, items, or megabytes. I only want 25 megabytes of music, please. And thank you.
Oh wow, that is a old school feature.
That's
right?
iPod shuffle history right there, boys.
Or like your Sanrio. It's like, how much can I get on this SD card?
That's right. That's good. This episode of Connected is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. So whether you're just starting out or you're scaling your business, Squarespace gives you everything you need to claim your domain name, showcase your offerings on a professional-looking website that looks awesome, grow your brand, and get paid all in one place. I've been using Squarespace basically forever. I've built a ton of sites on it. And the reason I keep going back for all these projects is that all these tools are built and designed to work together. That means you can start with a simple website and add things like a blog or gallery really easily, and it all just works together. But it goes beyond just types of pages. Squarespace has integrated SEO tools. This means that every website you build with Squarespace is optimized to be indexed with meta descriptions, an auto-generated sitemap, and more. So more people find your site through search engine results. And with analytics, you can keep track of the stats that matter most with intuitive built-in analytics tools. You don't have to go install a separate package or deal with another website. It's all built in. And their analytics make it really easy to review website traffic, learn where to focus engagement, track revenue, and more. So head on over to squarespace.com/connected for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code CONNECTED to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain name. That's squarespace.com/connected and the offer code CONNECTED to get 10% off your first purchase and to show your support for the show. Our thanks to Squarespace for their support of Connected and all of Relay.
Mark Gurman is reporting that Apple is considering partnering with a third party to power Siri. Apple has been building an LLM of their own, which was hopefully going to be powering a new version of Siri in 2026. If my memory is correct, this was not the more personal Siri. This is like a whole new endeavor to like actually make it what it should be in today's world. They are now talking to, like actually having meetings with both OpenAI and Anthropic about one of their models being the back end for a new Siri, potentially abandoning their own efforts. Give a couple of quotes from the piece. The iPhone maker has talked to both companies about using their large language models for Siri. Mike Rockwell and Craig Federighi don't see the need for Apple to rely on its own models, which they currently consider inferior, when it can partner with third parties instead. And Apple believes that running the models on its own chips housed in Apple-controlled cloud servers rather than relying on third-party infrastructure will better safeguard user privacy. To add on to that last part, the conversations that they're having, they're basically saying to these companies, you give us the model and we'll run it. Like, we want a custom version that will run on our hardware, like either on device or private cloud compute, probably private cloud compute, right? If it's Siri, to be realistic. That's kind of where we are. That like they are now, and my thought on this before I hand it over to you two to talk about as well, is that whether this is going to happen or not, the fact that they are considering it is important. The fact that they are actually having meetings with these companies is even more so. And that's probably how this information has gotten out.
Mm-hmm. I have so many thoughts and questions, as you can imagine. First off, I will say, like I said this 2 months ago, and I'll say it again. This is Craig getting his way.
Yeah.
This is exactly what they should be doing. This is exactly the sort of vibe that we got from the original Gurman report from a couple of months ago about sort of Apple not being so, and especially Federighi's team, not being so religious about not using external technology and external AI providers for AI features on their platform. So I will say up front that I think this is a good move. Is it a short-term solution? Possibly. But there's nothing, I think, especially right now when it comes to marketing, when it comes to telling people that you have an AI platform, that you have an AI capable phone, and they, you know, you got to fix Siri. I think the short term is especially important. I continue to be also skeptical of the long term. Like, are we so convinced that Apple is going to have a Siri LLM with comparable quality to, let's not even say the big models, right? Let's even just say GPT-4o or even GPT-4. Like, are they really going to have a GPT-4 equivalent Siri large language model by next year? happy to be proven wrong, but I see these comments from people saying, "Oh, they're just doing this for the next 6 months." I don't think this is the kind of thing that you can fix in 6 months, but we'll see.
Yeah, and also like Mark Gurman makes a really good point in his article, and I'm not entirely sure from my memory if this is from having conversations with people or not. But like, if they do this, the people at Apple who are building this technology will leave. Like, and I think he spoke to people who said, like, if Apple decide that we're not going to be building our own LLM anymore, or like, or we're going to partner with somebody else to do this, I'll just go to OpenAI.
Yeah, or Meta, who's offering $100 million signing bonuses right now.
Yes. So if they do make this move, it's going to be even harder for them to do whatever it is they would need to do. But I just don't think they need to do it, right? I think the best possible thing to do is to just be a good platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not the only person. Everyone's saying this now in our space, and I think for good reason. Just like you just be a good platform, a good computer for AI to work on, however it might be, and partner with people and do all the stuff you got to do.
I still think they should be building their own large language model, which is why I think what I would like to see them do is basically a reverse Apple Maps situation, where instead of debuting a version of a Siri large language model that sucks, keep building it in private, and in the meantime keep the Google Maps equivalent of an LLM. So partner up and continue teaming up with OpenAI or Anthropic, and I have some thoughts about that, but keep building your own thing, closed doors, in private, keep trying to understand, like, can we actually get there in a year and a half? Like, do we actually have the knowledge and the team and the resources, and up the spending? Like, there's no world in which Meta can afford to pay more for AI engineers and product managers right now than the most powerful tech company in the world, which is Apple. Like, there shouldn't be any timeline in which Apple is not gonna, Tim Cook is not opening his wallet and be like, okay, look, all right, how much do you want? Like, they should be doing exactly that. I know that it's a crazy situation to be in. It's ridiculous that there's now this bidding war between Google, Meta, OpenAI, and Anthropic on who can put together the most like superstar of an AI team. But hey, this is the timeline we're living in now, and either you play ball or you don't. And I think Apple should play. But regardless, so OpenAI or Anthropic. So I think this is the really reasonable choice right now, but I've been thinking, like, how do you choose between ChatGPT or Claude? When it comes to having a Siri, like an LLM-infused version of Siri. So when you're talking to Siri, first of all, you want fast interactions, right? So you want quick responses. You don't want latency. You want something to happen quickly, and you want Siri to understand you and also follow your instructions. And I do believe, having played with all of these things for the past several months, I really do think that when it comes to instruction following, Claude is the better model right now. Both Sonnet 4, but especially Opus 4, are really, really, and even previous versions of Claude were good. I think in general, the work that Anthropic has done for instruction following and making sure that the LLM sticks to what the user is asking, I think they are best in class when it comes to that. I think the main problem when it comes to Anthropic, when it comes to Claude, is that historically Anthropic's inference platform has been very bad in terms of performance and speed. They're based on Amazon Web Services, obviously, because Amazon owns a stake in Anthropic, and they have their own investment thing going on. But obviously Apple wants these things to run on private cloud compute. So first of all, I don't think it's as easy as saying, Anthropic, give us your model. We'll just drag a zip file on private cloud compute, and that's Claude. Like, potentially you need to retrain the whole thing. You need to not retrain, but basically, like, you got to run on a completely different architecture. So it's not as easy as saying, well, give us the code, we'll put it here, it's gonna run. It's a month-long process, I assume. But the main question is, assuming that you got it running on private cloud compute, can Sonnet, like even let's again disregard Opus 4, which is a huge model, it's not gonna run fast. Can a version of Sonnet, Claude Sonnet 4, assuming Apple is gonna ask Anthropic to run Sonnet 4, can Sonnet 4 without reasoning, so again, assuming you don't want to wait too long for a response, can that run quickly on private cloud compute as quickly as Siri? But the main problem from my perspective isn't the whole thing with Siri right now that a portion of Siri runs on device?
Yeah.
Like, isn't it the whole thing that Apple has said over the past few years? We have continued to upgrade Siri so that some of your requests can run offline on device, and then when necessary, we're gonna go to the cloud. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, when you're setting a timer, when you're setting an alarm, or even creating a reminder, I think like you're not going to the cloud, you're doing so on device. And by definition and by the laws of physics, if something runs on device, it's gonna be faster than whatever latency they're gonna have on private cloud compute, right? So, question: how are you going to do that? Like, you cannot.
I think they can have an Apple Intelligence model operate the on-device stuff. And then, because remember they said they have a model that decides where it goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're basically looking at an Apple take on, this is interesting because a bunch of companies have been exploring this space of like dual LLM systems.
Yeah.
Apple has their own flavor, which is they have the sort of the orchestration model that takes a look at the request and says, well, I don't think I'm capable of doing this. I should go off to the cloud.
Yeah.
Google has actually published a paper on something similar. It's a system called Camel. And it's basically like this dual LLM system that was theorized by Simon Willison and applied by researchers at Google for a different purpose, not to understand the request, but to prevent prompt injection. It's a really fascinating paper where basically Google has these two LLMs talking to each other. One of them being quarantined and being unable to execute code, and the other model that actually takes the requests from the safe model. It's really fascinating. You should go take a look at the paper. So that's a potential solution, like to have the Apple Intelligence model coordinating and saying, well, I think this can be done on device and this other thing should probably be done in the cloud. But still, assuming all of that works and assuming you team up with Anthropic, they have Sonnet 4 on private cloud compute, how do you fix the very fact that Siri sometimes doesn't understand you? Like the thing you're speaking into the microphone doesn't understand you. Or, for example, a scenario in which I ran into the other day where I asked Siri, can you give me my schedule for the upcoming week? And Siri understood that it could do that on device, but it just gave me my tasks for today instead of the upcoming week. So how exactly do you fix the problem where Apple Intelligence may hallucinate, well, I think I'm going to be able to do this on device, and I think the user is asking for events and tasks due today, while in fact the user is asking for data for the upcoming week. So that'll be interesting.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe that's like they can't. So maybe the answer is just can't.
Right. Because if we're just saying, well, Apple is going to want this external help from their friends for world knowledge, well, okay, you already got the help for world knowledge. And I think here instead we're talking about something else. We're talking about infusing Siri with LLM capabilities. So if we are following that trajectory, I think we're talking about getting rid of the on-device parts of Siri. I even think this is the kind of thing where you may actually launch it as a beta preview that is completely separate from the existing on-device Siri. That may be a solution for Apple to say, hey, look, you can continue using the traditional Siri. It's going to have some stuff on device. It's going to have some other stuff in the cloud. Or you can opt in for a beta version of Siri LLM where it actually behaves like a large language model. You can have conversations, you can have back and forth. There's even going to be an app where you can have text conversations with it like a proper chatbot. I think that's what we're talking about, because it doesn't from my perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have half and half, like half Siri, silly, stupid Siri on device, and the other half is actually Claude coming in and be like, Siri, you got it wrong. No, I don't think it doesn't make any sense to me.
I just wonder if, though, like the device control stuff, if that has to be dealt with. I guess it didn't always get dealt with on device, right?
It wasn't always. They switched, and I don't know, potentially got even worse. I don't know. Just one final thing about OpenAI. Why not OpenAI? Obviously, they already have a partnership, an existing relationship with OpenAI, which I think is an important factor right now. Apple seems to suggest that they're using GPT-4o when it comes to their integration right now. I continue to be a little skeptical that is actually the latest version of GPT-4o that they have with ChatGPT integration in Siri, but whatever. That's beyond the scope of this argument. So they have an existing relationship. Somehow, OpenAI is letting Apple use their model for free, which is nice. So they obviously like each other. But I do think that when it comes to instruction following, so being able to follow the instructions of the user, I think that all of the GPT models are worse than Claude. The one that is better than 4o, than O3, than O4 mini is GPT 4.1, but it's expensive to run. And it's kind of slow. Like, it's not as fast as 4o. It's expensive. I don't think OpenAI will let Apple use GPT 4.1 for free. Now, two asterisks are important to mention here. The first one, OpenAI as an open source model coming this summer, and they have said it won't run on phones. So should Apple take a look at the open source model by OpenAI? I bet that's obviously going to be much better than the model that they have. I don't think Apple is just going to say, oh, we'll take OpenAI's open source model, we're going to put it on private cloud compute and call it a day. OpenAI also has GPT-5 coming out this summer, potentially. And like, that's the big deal that's happening in OpenAI land in the upcoming weeks. And Sam Altman has said GPT-5 is going to be a big release. Like, it's going to take all of the aspects of the research and the work that they've done lately. So it's going to be a big model, GPT 4.5 style, the model that was like huge model that nobody cared about because it was kind of weird. They're going to combine that with the speed of 4.0, and it's going to be a true multi-model release, also in the sense that in addition to images and text and URLs, for example, it's gonna be the kind of model where it will know whether it's supposed to answer you quickly or it's supposed to reason over your request.
I cannot describe how much I hate the models.
Yes. Which is
with
OpenAI seems to be very much aware of how ridiculous that whole thing has grown into, that model picker.
I mean,
and
they
saying,
are responsible for it, though. Like,
yes,
if they're
are.
unhappy about it. This is the bed they made.
Who did this?
Yes. Yeah.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
Yeah. So they said they're gonna unify everything, but again, I doubt that OpenAI will let Apple come in and say, sure, take GPT-5 and run it for free at no cost on private cloud compute. So I think, realistically speaking, from my perspective, what we're looking at is a partnership for a separate version of Siri that is a chatbot that is potentially labeled as a beta version, opt-in, no on-device processing, or as very little as possible, because the main problem with Siri is that it doesn't understand you. And they obviously want a version of Siri that understands you and that behaves like a chatbot, like a large language model. I think they should do this. I think it should potentially be a separate opt-in, different version of Siri.
We'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
They got to pay these companies, though. Like,
I mean,
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think Anthropic is gonna, I don't think Dario Amodei is gonna sit in front of Tim Cook or Eddie Q and be like, yeah, sure, take Sonnet 4, run it for free on private cloud compute, whatever. It's good for our exposure. No,
like it's different with the way that like ChatGPT integrates right now, where it feels a little bit more like advertising in a way, right? where it's like, this is provided by open, like, but at the point where it's just, you're just straight up like the entire Siri infrastructure is power, like, it's like, no, you gotta give us some money now. Like,
So what you're saying is these companies with LLMs don't want another company to use their work without paying for it.
I walked right into that one. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Silly me.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Fitbod. When you want to change your fitness level, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why I'm pleased to let you know that Fitbod is an easy and affordable way to build a fitness plan that's just for you. Everyone's fitness path is different, which is why Fitbod uses data to make sure they're customizing things exactly to suit you, adapting as you improve so each workout will be challenging, pushing you to make the progress you want. Superior results are achieved when a workout program is tailored to your unique body, experience, environment, and goals, which are all stored in your Fitbod gym profile. And Fitbod tracks tons of stuff, including muscle recovery, so you can avoid burnout and keep up your momentum. It tracks the best possible workouts by combining AI with exercise science. Fitbod has analyzed billions of data points that have been fine-tuned by certified personal trainers. And to make sure you're learning new movements the right way, the app also includes 1,000 demonstration videos. Fitbod tracks muscle fatigue and recovery to design a well-balanced workout routine over time, which means you'll never get bored as the app mixes up your workouts with new exercises, rep schemes, supersets, and circuits. And all of this is easy to use. You can stay informed with tracking charts, weekly reports, and sharing cards. Lets you keep track of your achievements and share them with friends and family. And it integrates with your Apple Watch, Wear OS smartwatch, and apps like Strava, Fitbit, and Apple Health. What I love about Fitbod is that all this data is tuned by certified personal trainers, and those videos make sure that you know what you're doing. It's that human touch on the app that I really appreciate. Personalized training of this quality can be expensive, but Fitbod is just $15.99 a month or $95.99 a year. But you can get 25% off your membership by signing up at fitbod.me/connected. That's Fitbod, Fitbod, fitbod.me/connected for your customized fitness plan and 25% off your membership. Our thanks to Fitbod for their support of the show and all of Relay. Big news. Tiny processors coming to a new MacBook.
I am fascinated by this report.
Yeah. So this has been, as Jason pointed out in his 6 Colors article, it was rumored a couple years ago that Apple was looking at putting an A series chip, so the chip from the iPhone and the entry-level iPad, putting that chip in a entry-level Mac laptop. And a couple years ago, it kind of made sense, but it sort of didn't really amount to anything. Now the rumor's back with Ming-Chi Kuo having a report on X, and then Mac Rumors actually saying that they have seen code from Apple software with a reference to an A18 Pro running Mac OS, which is fascinating. So I want to break this into 3 things, just like Steve Jobs did when he introduced the Power Mac G5. We have the chip, the system, and the product. Talk about these things in 3 levels.
We're lucky to have our own Steve Jobs here with us today.
It's true.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Oh, finally, I get to call you Steve. Okay.
Yeah, you're Steve now. for this conversation, you're now Steve.
Feels gross. So as Snell points out, I don't know if you guys know this, Jason really likes charts, and they're very handy.
Really?
He's a chart man.
Chart man.
Charman.
The A18 Pro is 46% faster than the M1 in single core tasks and is basically identical in multi-core and graphics tasks. That is wild to me. You know, the M1, I can't wrap my mind around this really. The M1 is getting ready to be 5 years old. The Apple Silicon transition started in the fall of 2020 with the M1. And so we've had 4
I mean,
generations.
we've passed 5 years since announcement.
Yes, it was WWDC 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And in those years, the A series has continued to improve and improve. And so that means the A18 Pro, even in its worst benchmarks, is similar to the M1. Like when you get into RAM and SSD bandwidth, it struggles a little bit against the M1. But in single core, being in between the M3 and M4 is huge. And a lot of users who just need a laptop for school or work, who aren't doing production work the way we do, single core is what makes a machine feel fast in almost all of those things, right? And so it being 46% faster than the M1 in single core is a huge percentage. I have no doubt the A18 Pro could handle Mac OS from a power perspective. The M1 does, and the M1, so I have an M1 MacBook Air. I pulled it off the shelf this morning to just reacquaint myself with it, and it's totally fine. Like, it's great. And something that's 46% faster in single core would be even greater. So I have no doubt the A18 Pro could handle this. And of course, the A18 Pro supports Apple Intelligence, which any new Mac will have to do, for better or worse. So that's the chip. Let's talk about the system, that what you build around the chip. And one thing you run into immediately is I/O. And so the A18 Pro has USB 3 support at 10 gigabit a second, not Thunderbolt. Remember that we talked about this in the lead up to these current generation of phones, like, oh, will the Pro phone have Thunderbolt? They haven't done it yet, but they are doing USB 3 as opposed to USB 2 on the non-Pro system on a chip, which is just ridiculous. Like, everything should at least be USB 3 now. I said in my post that, maybe that would lead to confusion for some users, and I stand by that. But at the same time, like, if you're buying a potentially very cheap laptop, it probably doesn't matter. And for most people, they don't care.
No, you want USB-C. People don't care about Thunderbolt. They want USB-C.
Federico cares, but he's Federico.
I mean, obviously, I was going to chime in. Obviously, the big problem here is that I don't think you can do, with USB 3 at 10 gigabit per second, I don't think you can do external displays. For sure, you cannot do 4K 60 because that 10, it's probably not enough. I don't think you can do that. So potentially, this computer will not let you do a 4K external display,
which I think is fine.
I think it's probably fine too.
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit if you don't mind, Stephen.
Sure.
In your post, you reference this machine coming in at like the $999 point.
Yeah, which
and I don't think that that's what this is.
No,
Jason was talking about. We were talking about this on Upgrade too, and Jason mentioned that. I think this does not sit in any price slot that Apple is currently occupying on their website for a Mac.
I
think
actually
the whole
agree with
reason that this product exists is it goes below, and we were talking about this on Upgrade too. Like, Apple has seen whatever success that cheap Walmart M1 MacBook Air has been, and has been like, why are we giving Walmart any of this money?
Yeah,
when we can just make a Mac ourselves for this money and get all of the money.
Yeah,
it's all ours.
I don't disagree with that. I sort of hedged my bet on that in my post, and now I wish I hadn't. Because you're not the first person to say that to me today.
Because I don't think you can replace anything and do less with it. And Federico, that's such a great point about the displays, because that would like further my point of like, you can't say like this is the new entry level MacBook Air and now it doesn't support external displays, but I think you can say this is now the new entry level MacBook Air and it's like just a single display experience, and like that's it. It's your laptop and that's the end of it.
Yeah, it's just a laptop. You could say
this
that.
is a laptop.
Honestly, I think they call it the MacBook. I think that name comes back for something like this.
Absolutely.
They should. They should
not call it the Air. The airline, the airline is actually kind of confusing now because like you have the M1, which you can get, for $649 currently at Walmart, and then the M4, which starts at $999. They don't look the same. They don't have the same features. Obviously, the performance is pretty different. So I think USB-C at USB, 10 gigabit a second, like I think it's fine.
Would it power any monitor?
sure that it would.
Like something. It's just not going to be
Not 4K 60.
right. But like in theory, you could plug it into a display. You're just not going to have a good
1080 for sure. Let
Yeah.
me see. 1440p.
like the studio display requires a Thunderbolt cable.
It does.
right, for
It
example,
would not
right?
push the studio display.
Yeah, but it could power. I'm sure LG make a display that you could plug this into and it would work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not going to be
I
great.
think potentially you could do 1440p at 60. Yeah, because you're a 6 gigabit per second with
Yeah.
1440p at 60.
So
let's see,
realistically, you could
1440p.
plug it into a 1080p like display.
You can
right?
do you can do 1080p. Yeah, you cannot do 1440p at 120. So you can do 1080p. You can do
Yeah.
1440p at 60 hertz. Maybe 1080p at 20 hertz.
120 hertz. you mean.
At 120 hertz. Sorry. yes.
1080p, and you got to
Sorry.
wait 4 minutes to move your
No,
cursor.
no.
Gaming
So
on the
you
Mac,
can
am I
do-
right?
So you can do 1080p at 60 or 120 or 1440p at 60.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's
yeah, so
reasonable.
But that's the thing of like, you can plug into a display, but like that's a messy situation for Apple to explain, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
You can plug it into a
Yeah.
4K display. You're not gonna get the native resolution.
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really what I was saying about it, about the confusion it brings is just explaining that sort of stuff. But I would imagine that out in the world where people are most interested in the cheapest laptops, like education and just like a fleet of laptops for business workers, like 1440 is probably fine.
it's a laptop. It's
Yeah.
just a laptop. What it is a computer that you use on your lap. Like, don't worry about anything else. Like, this is a laptop. It's like the laptop's laptop. It's like, this is what it does. Forget about everything else. Like, it's not important, right? Like, really, it is a way that you would promote a product like this. Of like, look at this thing. And they'll probably make it look fun, maybe? What do you think?
Yeah, so the going from the system to the product now, I have my shtick, okay?
I'm sorry. I've helped you get to point 3, right?
It's true. Yeah. Walk quietly and carry a big shtick, as they say. Hello?
We're still here. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't. I didn't even understand the reference. Like, I don't.
Yeah, me
even know what
neither.
that means.
Yeah,
No, it's an
I'm just-
American
I'm just-
president thing. It's fine. So so I think there's two directions I could go with the design. The simplest thing and the most cost-effective thing would be you take the M1 MacBook Air, which is really like the old Retina Intel MacBook Air design from 2018, and you pop an A18 Pro in it and you call it a day. And so it's wedge-shaped, no MagSafe, just USB-C ports, Touch ID. I think it's a real possibility they do that, but I think that's really boring. What would be more exciting, and the direction I hope they go, and Ming-Chi Kuo says this in their post on Twitter, they rattle off some colors. And what I thought of immediately was the Framework 12, their new little laptop that comes in fun colors.
Yes.
And I mean, they designed that laptop with basically 4 people. I mean, Framework versus Apple, huge gulf in terms of the amount of resources they have.
Yep.
Surely Apple could design something.
But this is exactly that. The Framework 12, Stephen, is such a great example of how do you make a fun computer today.
Yeah. I have no need for one, but I want one.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the most praise I can give a PC. It's this looks sick and I want one, even though I'll never use it.
Yep.
So you could design something that was fun, but also that makes sense for these types of users. Now, I'm not saying you go full iBook and do rubber injected molding colors, right? They're not going to do that. But are there things in the wedge MacBook Air design that you could improve or change to make it an even better computer for people who are shopping for a $700 Mac? And I'm sure that there are. I would hope that this would have MagSafe because that's a quintessential Mac experience. But having colors, even if they did got rid of the wedge and did a slab design, so you could like really get bonkers battery life out of it. I think I hope all that's on the table. And I know that some people look at this and say, gosh, Apple should make the 12-inch MacBook again. And I would argue that that is not what this product should be. I think there is theoretically room for an ultra-thin, small, like sub-notebook from Apple again. People who loved the 12-inch MacBook really loved it, despite it being, just to be honest with you, a pretty bad computer in a lot of ways. People loved the size and the lightness. But I think looking at this, if you're looking at a $700-ish MacBook, I think a 13-inch display is basically as small as you can go and still be mainstream enough to fit the needs of people who want to buy a $700 MacBook. I think if you're thinking about schools and consumers and students and, companies that just need to have everybody have a Mac, I think 12 inches is too small. I think 13 is about right.
How many USB ports could the A18 Pro power?
That's a good question that I don't know the answer to, honestly.
Because this is part of my, I think it has to have MagSafe for that reason, right?
USB 3 speeds?
Yes.
3.0?
Yeah, 10 gigabit a second.
I mean, we know it can do one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We know it can do one.
Maybe
can it do more?
Maybe it's MagSafe and one USB-C port?
I think it might be, right?
So we're looking at I'm looking at the power delivery.
Yeah.
And it's not clear. These USB specs are so confusing.
I think we could be looking at MagSafe and one USB-C port here, realistically.
Maybe. Which is not great, but maybe understandable.
Yeah. So my hope for this product is it's made of plastic and it's somewhat chunky.
So it can go up to 7.5 watts. The USB,
okay.
By default, the USB 3.0 port standard was designed for 4.5 watts, but by implementing additional specifications like USB battery charging specification, it can go all the way up to 7.5 watts. Woo, big! Now you're playing with power. Yeah. So,
I think MagSafe. I think they should put MagSafe on it. But I want it to be colorful, right? I want it to be made of plastic. I want it to be chunkier. You mentioned the ultra thin and light. That's the MacBook Air now, right? That's the ultra thin and light. If you want that, you don't get that at the bottom end. You get that at the top end, and that's just what you're going to get. And I agree with the 13-inch. I feel like if you want a smaller screen laptop, hello, can I introduce you to the 11-inch iPad Pro? If
for twice as much money,
laptop. Yeah, but you pay for it, right? That's the thing. The smallest, I think, except for the MacBook Air, if you really want a tiny laptop, in history, you've paid more for it.
Yeah.
Right? The 12-inch PowerBook was expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the MacBook, the 12-inch MacBook was expensive. Miniaturization is expensive. That's the way that goes. Or do you know what? Buy an iPad Mini, you get the smallest screen.
There you
know
go.
what? Or you get a regular iPad or something. You know what I feel like this product is going to be a budget product, and so it is going to exhibit budget things, but I want them to be fun with it.
Yeah.
Because then it will be a fun product to have.
Colorful, chunky plastic laptop, it'd be fun. I was texting with somebody earlier today, this would be a really fun secondary Mac for somebody who maybe they have a desktop, maybe they got a Mac Mini or a Mac Studio or something, and they want a portable Mac. This would be great.
Someone, Stephen?
Me.
So you're going to have a second laptop.
Yeah.
It's your secondary laptop.
Secondary. I actually
8
have
terabytes of storage into a $700 computer.
I have a secondary laptop now. It's fine. So we'll see. This is very exciting to me just because, well, for many reasons, but mainly because this is a space Apple hasn't played in before with the MacBook. You can get a Mac Mini cheap, but the MacBook Air has basically been $1,000 computer, roughly. I'm not doing any math about inflation. Has roughly been $1,000 computer forever. And if they drop below that, it's for education, or it's like the M1, it's an older machine. And I would expect an A18 Pro MacBook. God, the Pro naming just comes back to bite you and all these things. I suspect that it would not get updated every year. It would be a longer cycle, and that would be fine. But having Apple build something that's inexpensive from the jump is just really interesting because they don't do it very often. And times they've tried it in the past hasn't always gone so well. And I think they have all the pieces here to make something really good. I hope they take the opportunity to make something with this market in mind and not just put it in the M1 Air enclosure, but we'll see. So moving on from small MacBooks, we now have to talk about big awards. We are now grading the Ticcilympics.
I have no recollection of this.
Well,
so please,
yeah.
where was I?
You don't have a
What
recollection
happened?
because you don't know this happened. You don't know this happened.
You don't know this happened
What?
because this was on an episode. This was episode 510. There's a link in the show notes. This was a show that you missed last summer. We had John on, and then we banned you from listening to the episode.
Yes. You told me don't listen.
That's right.
Yes, okay.
That's right.
Okay.
And we've also forbidden you from scrolling down in the Notion.
Yes, but the Ticcilympics were public for people.
Yes,
right.
Correct.
Everyone else in the world
Okay.
heard it but you.
Yes, every single person on the planet has heard this episode.
We did.
It's our
We
most
YouTubed
listened
it to
episode.
everybody.
Yeah.
This was the game to remind everybody and to explain to Federico for the first time. We're going to make picks on what sorts of technology experiments Federico may undertake in the next 12 months. To avoid a space-time paradox, Federico has been forbidden from looking at our show planning document and isn't allowed to listen to the episode.
Huh.
We will each make 3 picks. A correct prediction will earn 1 point when graded in July 2025. That's now.
It's now.
Passion picks are ungraded and are for passion. You may remain seated.
Yeah. Federico, you're going to have to help us, I think, in most of the grading of this.
So now I can look. Okay.
Well, yeah, and we'll read these out to you as we go, so don't read too far ahead. And we'll read John's. Maybe John will win, and we'll just never tell him. And we'll ban John from listening to this episode.
All right.
We'll play what will be like the John games. So, round 1, John's pick was Federico finds a use for Thunderbolt 5.
This John knows me well, and I assume he was looking at the potential timeline of Thunderbolt 5 devices. This is not a point because I thought about it.
Right.
I thought about waiting for a Thunderbolt 5 eGPU, but then obviously I upgraded to a full-blown gaming PC.
Yep.
So I am no longer relying on... I sold all of my eGPUs, in fact. So this is not a point, but it came very close. And also, by a similar token, the next item in the list.
So, okay, I was extrapolating out in your life, right, from my first round pick, which was I was convinced at a certain point you were going to be fed up of unfurling your fiber optic cable from your office to the bedroom. You
Good
always
call,
said it as
good
if you
pick.
enjoyed it as a thing. I was convinced that at a certain point, life was going to hit you and you were going to be like, this is ridiculous. Why am I doing this? And eventually I'm going to break this cable. And that one day you would get the approval to drill a hole through the wall to run this cable to power an external GPU in another room.
Incredible.
But that didn't
No,
happen because you stopped using external GPUs.
Yeah, I stopped. So I now a happy boy with a gaming PC. Yeah, sorry, Mike. That's not a point. Steven, it seems that you're up next.
Federico tries an e-ink phone to help reduce distractions and get more into reading.
This is a point because I
Ding!
did try one. You get it. I did purchase. Actually, I purchased 2 e-ink phones. I tried each for like a week and then I realized, no, I'm never gonna be like I'm not really an e-ink phone person.
I've forgotten how this went down because isn't this cheating? You said 2 days before recording that you were going to do this before we recorded the show, Stephen. I don't remember how
read the tweet.
Yeah.
At the beach, wanted to try and read a book for a few hours under the sun. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I ended up purchasing. Let me see if I can find it. But for sure, I have a Books Palma.
Everyone does. I do.
I purchased something else that I barely even used. I'll try and find it. I purchased it for like this website about ebook readers. I'm
Six
trying
colors.
to see if yeah, it's basically like that. I'm trying to see if the superhuman AI search still works.
You mean Grammarly?
Yeah, I know, right?
On top of the Books Palma, you bought another one?
Yes. A few months later, thinking, oh, this one, I bought one that has a SIM capability, like that you can actually use it as a phone. And I remember trying it. I vaguely remember trying it like around Christmas of last year and thinking, yeah, it's got the same issue. Like I just like using a proper smartphone with like a colored screen and apps, you know? So that's why. But the pick is correct. I did try an e-ink phone to get more into reading. Not about the distractions, about the reading.
All right, I'll take it. So the end of round one, I'm winning 1-0.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for
Round
challenging
two.
you. I apologize.
It's okay.
My round two, first pick. Another Windows handheld is declared to be the best, resulting in Federico selling his Legion Go.
Well, I haven't sold my Legion Go, Mike. Although I do think there are now better Windows handhelds. But I haven't sold my Legion Go. In fact, I'm waiting for the Legion Go 2, but Legion Go 1 is now running SteamOS, and I like it.
So you think another Windows handheld is the best?
I do think that right now the ROG Ally X is better than the Legion Go, technically speaking. Like it's the better handheld for most people. And I do think that supposedly over the next few months, the Xbox ROG Ally X, geez, that's a name. That's going to be the best one this year because it's going to have like the Xbox partnership and the Z2 Extreme inside. But right now, I would say the ROG Ally X is the more well-rounded Windows handheld, more than the Legion Go.
I'm trying to find a definition of the word sold, which would somehow answer for you removing Windows from the Legion Go.
I have a suggestion, actually.
Okay.
These rules don't say anything about half points.
Incredible.
You can get a half point.
I'll take it.
Get a half point
for Mike.
I mean, I do feel like, especially in the fact that while he hasn't sold this, he's no longer using Windows on it.
Yeah.
You deserve a half point. You deserve a half point.
Haven't you also, at this point, gotten it into a non-sellable point because you kind of ruined it by putting SteamOS on it, if I remember from MPC?
Yeah. It's unsellable. And it's also, no. And I mean, it's also modded, right? It's the Legion Go with a little cage in the back for the SSD. So, yeah, it's unsellable. Steven, you're up.
I love getting half points. We should bring these back to the Rickies.
No.
Federico speaks before a government body in an official capacity about AI training.
Nope, this has not happened in any timeline. So
there was a timeline where it seemed possible.
Well, I don't think they would have called me, but hasn't happened. So no points, Steven. Okay. And John said, and now this is a weird one. John said Federico buys a 3D printer. No. And also John should know better than I prefer to purchase physical things than
I think this was a good pick from him.
Me too.
Here's where he was coming from, if I remember him rightly, which was you were getting more and more and more into modding things, right?
Right.
And you have that garage space.
No, I cannot put stuff in the garage. No, I cannot do that.
But I think that was the thinking of like, you wouldn't put one of these in your house because I'm not sure if you should have a 3D printer like in the house. Like, I don't know.
No, I would never get permission to do it.
Yeah,
in-
but
in
maybe
any
in the
capacity.
garage, right? You could have maybe put it down there. I think it was the thinking.
Nope. Yeah, okay. I get the thinking, but the reality is that I would never get permission to do it. So, yeah, no point. So at the end of round 2, we have Steven with 1 point and Mike with 0.5 points.
Love it.
Good job. All right.
Round 3.
Round 3.
Federico adds a water feature to his balcony.
Can you define water feature?
I think
What is a water feature?
it's mostly decorative
Yeah.
or could have fish in it.
Like a fountain.
Or a fountain or like a koi pond or
I see.
more than
Okay.
just like a garden hose for watering plants.
It's not
Okay,
an
so you-
irrigation system.
Right.
That's what-
Right.
that's
So
what we're
okay.
answering.
So that's what I was asking. You were not thinking about an irrigation system,
No.
so you don't
Yeah.
get any points. We don't have any water features in the balcony. We
Okay.
just have a really good homemade, automatable irrigation system, but no water features.
It's a feature of water, not a water feature.
Yes.
John said, Federico re-explores the world of glasses that serve as an external display.
John gets a point.
Oh, here he goes. OTJ
I
on
have
the
done
board.
that. In fact, I do own and use them occasionally. What are the latest X-Reel
No one
called?
knows.
Pro
Max.
Air
Pro-
1.
No. X-Reel. Okay, so
X-Reel.
let's
X-Reel
go look.
Ultra.
X-Reel. I don't have any. I don't think I have the Ultra. Are they really called Ultra?
I don't know.
One?
Hold on. This
One
website.
Pro?
Why is this website so weird? I
Air
have
2
the-
Pro. Air 2 Ultra.
Oh my god!
These
What
are
do
all
I
products
have?
that they make.
Oh,
1 Pro, 1. Air
Hold-
2
hold
Ultra,
on.
Air 2 Pro.
Hold on. We got So we're searching for X.
All right, I'm actually now, while you're doing this, I'm going to read all of their products in their comparison. X-Reel 1 Pro, X-Reel 1, X-Reel Air 2 Pro, X-Reel Air 2 Pro plus X-Reel Beam Pro, X-Reel Air 2, X-Reel Air, X-Reel Air 2 Ultra. I feel like this company's been around for like 2 years, and like they bring out a new product every 4 months.
So I have the X-Reel 1. Okay.
Okay.
That's what I purchased at the end of 2024. I like them. I got the custom lenses with my prescription on them. And occasionally I use them as external displays for the iPad or for the Steam Deck. I haven't tried them with the Switch 2, actually, now that I think about it.
It doesn't work without power.
It doesn't?
They need there needs to be like a power source in the middle. The reason I know this is because there's a gaming podcast and they are actually sponsored by X-Reel, and they tried it during their Switch 2 launch coverage was sponsored by X-Reel, and they tried it. It's like, it doesn't work. And this is the thing with the original Switch. There needs to be like a thing in the middle for the Switch.
Yeah, I
right,
got that. I got the dongle. I got that.
Yeah,
I
so you need
I know
that.
what to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, good
what
job,
is that,
John.
the Genki thing or whatever? Is that it, right? Genki make a thing where it's like you're faking a powered HDMI or something like that, or something
I
about USB-C.
got one of those. I got one of those. That
still need one of
basically
those.
it's like a little What I have is a little dongle that allows you to have both USB charging and USB video pass through in the same dongle, which is kind of rare as a thing to find. So yeah, it should work.
Yep.
Good job, John. You know me well.
Well, we'll see.
And then my last round pick was Federica makes more than 10 flexi picks in one game of the Rickies. Which is correct. It happened
Which I
very
did.
soon
I
after.
did.
You got really excited, and then we all did it. And then afterwards, I think John pointed out that I got my point. And I was very excited about that. It was the September Rickies where we all went mad.
Okay.
So at the end of round 3, there's been a few changes. We have Steven and OTJ tied with 1 point, and surprisingly, Mr. Mike Hurley at 1.5 points.
So I now win John's share of Mac Stories.
Is that what was at stake?
Yep, we all put on the line our ties with you. And so now I get Mac Stories. So you have a new business partner. Congratulations, Federico. I don't know how you feel about that.
Nice.
yeah, so
You're welcome on
congratulations.
board. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's
Thank
cool.
you. I'm
That's
blogging
cool.
now. I was in preparation for this. So
Hey,
I'm
you
going
know
to be
what,
doing the
Mike?
Mac review this year. It's all mine now.
Yeah, you know what, Mike? You're fired.
Oh, no. Oh, so close. You going to give me severance?
Yeah, the TV show. That's what I'll give you.
Hire me. So, Stephen, can you please tweet, hire me? Hire Mike.
Hire half of
Hire
him.
Mike. Hire Mike because Federico's fired him. There were passion picks, though.
Yes.
Okay.
OTJ said Federico built something new with magnets.
No, not since not in the fall, not in the winter. Hold on. No, that was before. I was thinking of the MacPad. That was before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this
not
was after MacPad. This was after MacPad,
No,
which is helpful
then-
because I think there are a lot of
then
passion
no.
picks related to the MacPad.
Yeah. Okay, then no.
Okay. Federico finally breaks down and admits his friends were right and buys an Odin 2 and why he hasn't yet.
Yes, I did that. I did buy the Odin 2, and then I sold my Odin 2, and in fact I miss my Odin 2, and I really hope that the rumors of an Odin 3 are correct. By the way, Stephen, this is a gaming handout.
I figured it was that or a vape.
Yeah. No, it's I don't vape. I don't.
Turns out all of Federico's friends are vaping, and
Yeah. Gamers.
to be
Right.
honest, a lot of similarities I feel like between the vaping world and handheld
Sure.
gaming.
Maybe. They're all really into kickstands.
Next, portable cigarettes.
Okay.
All right, Mike, you're up.
Soon. Federico returns to WWDC and tries a new food. He doesn't like it.
Yeah. Yes.
What was
I
the
tried.
food?
Do beverages also count? I mean, it's
Yeah.
something that you eat, you drink. The Chris Lawley had me try that abomination of the Dr. Pepper with
I don't know
cream
why he
soda,
made you
no
do
sugar.
that. It was almost like bullying, like emotional bullying to you. Like I saw that
Yeah,
video
yeah.
and it's like I don't know why this is happening
Yeah,
right now
yeah.
because this
It was
Federico's
terrible.
going to be very upset about this.
Yeah, it was terrible. I also have to file a complaint about some of the actual Apple cafeteria press food. There was something about like I tried like a cookie at some point because basically my entire week I survived, especially breakfast and lunchtime, on cookies, on chocolate chip cookies, because everything that they made that was advertised as vegetarian, they seem to have gotten some kind of memo where vegetarian means, oh, you must put lots of raw onion inside,
Yeah, you've
which
made
I really
this
don't
complaint
understand.
on multiple
Yes.
podcasts, including this one.
And I will continue.
I really like they claim is vegetarian. Like, what's
Yes.
the claim? Like, it could be vegetarian.
They have their fancy labels in
Right.
front of the food, all printed with a nice font, and everything says
Mm-hmm.
vegetarian. And it's like, sure, eat the vegetarian and then try and talk to people at the conference. You're gonna have a good time. And also, I tried this cookie, and which was different. I was like, oh, today I want to try a different cookie. It was horrible. It tasted like dish soap or something. I don't know what they were doing. And so, whoa,
do you
what?
eat coriander?
No, I don't,
Why?
because it tastes funny.
That's what was in that food. So people that don't like a common complaint for coriander or cilantro, as it's known in America,
Yeah.
is people feel like it tastes like soap.
It does.
It does.
It really does.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not to everyone. I love coriander. It doesn't taste like soap
Ugh.
to me. Like this is like there is like a thing that goes on here for the way that people taste, and coriander is like some people think it tastes like soap, and some people don't, and they like the taste of it. So that's what was going on. Too much coriander.
Okay.
John suggests here. John made a third passion pick in the middle of mine. Federico hires Mike as his taster after becoming convinced that I tried to poison him in 2022.
Good idea. Good idea.
I have no doubt that something like this would have happened because he did try to poison you. And
It was
the point
it was
of this is-
2023, by the way. Was
okay. Yes, it
John
was
is off by a
23.
year.
Yeah. The story is I tried to convince you to come to breakfast with me that day, and you didn't. And you let John take you to go get a sandwich, and you got food poisoning on the way
Wow,
home.
Mike, you tried to save me.
I tried to
Wow.
save you. We went and had a
Yeah.
very nice breakfast that day, Adina and I, and you could have been with us. Instead, look what happened. You nearly
What
lost your life
happened?
on a plane.
Look what happened? Look what
You know?
happened? I could have died because of
You,
John.
you genuinely could have, but luckily you didn't. Federico creates another Frankenstein computer device.
No.
You didn't do that.
Mm-mm.
Federico discovers a new kickstand technology.
Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on. I did assemble the crazy eGPU that at some point caught on fire and then was fixed in the
I'm
summer.
taking that point.
Yep,
I'm
that's-
taking that
that's a
point.
passion point.
Because that was like a 3D printed computer case. I
Yes,
think was the result of that. And then there was a dangerous smoke that came from that. And then finally, Federico discovers a new kickstand technology.
No,
I don't
not
think
this
so.
one.
I don't think so.
I just had 2, and I was weirdly fixated on your body.
Yeah, that's
Who isn't?
Okay.
Who is?
Interesting. All right.
He gets a
cool.
new
Let's hear it.
technology-related tattoo.
No, haven't gotten any tattoos in a while, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm getting itchy.
Me too.
Federico considers implanting a magnet and or NFC chip into his body.
No, never. Nope. That's not the kind of tech person I am. I'm sorry. Nope. Huge nope.
Not yet.
Nope. No. And
I
just,
also won the passion picks. Federico, come on. Who knows you best? You know?
I gotta say, Mike knows me best.
I know you
based
best.
on these are very strategic picks, but also very good ones. So
You know, there was strategy and everything. I feel like I get you. You know, I know your thing. I knew the WWDC food thing was going to happen. Like that was an obvious one.
Yeah, I mean,
But I was also see the thing that there's a second part to this pick though. That I predicted you would return to WWDC, which at that point you were very much like, I'm never going back there.
Yeah.
You know,
Because of the food poisoning
because
the
of
year
food
before.
poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
It's a good reason. It is a good reason.
Yeah.
But I was confident you'd return, and you did.
Yeah. Well, so Mike, do you got any title because of this?
Why don't you decide?
That wasn't in the
Yeah,
rules.
you can be the Ricky Benchman's best friend.
I love it. That's incredible. I'll take it. I'm happy about that. We don't need to introduce me as such. Federico could choose to if he wants to.
Occasionally, I may use your secondary title. Yes.
Speaking of secondary titles, it's now time for the show to end. I don't know.
No, that's sad. Okay.
One very good.
All right.
We have a bunch of links for you to check out. They are in your podcast player or on the web at relay.fm/connected/559. One of those links is to leave feedback or follow up. You have something you want to tell us. There's a form there. You can make it anonymous. You can write us a poem, whatever you want to do. There's also a link to go join Connected Pro, which is the longer ad-free version of the show that we do each and every single week. So there's an extra section before the show, an extra section at the end of the show, and you also get a bunch of cool perks from Relay, including a newsletter, some members-only podcasts, and access to the Discord. So go check that out. If you want more of us, you can find us online. Federico is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net. Mike is the host of many, many shows on Relay. You can check out his work at both Cortex Brand and theenthusiast.net.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I got it in there in the template now. You can find my writing at 512pixels.net. You can find my photography featured heavily in Widget Smith 7.3.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. And I co-host Mac Power Users each and every Sunday. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Squarespace and Fitbod, for their support. And until next week, guys, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.